All right. Hope everyone got a chance to enjoy that. I thought that was pretty cool. And it's a good example of something you can physically see, right? But you can't touch it. But it's a good representation of transmutation of energy, right? Also, before we begin, my name is Yahuwah, the Lord of Hosts. As your host today, we're going to be covering Esdras 2. So sit right there and be a pupil of thine eye. Be the pupil of thine eye as the camera is the pupil to the witness. But also be a good steward and be a pupil willing to learn, listen, and openly understand. Thus saith I, the Lord. So, hope everybody's doing well today. It is January the 29th. We're going to be covering some Ezra, and particularly part 2 of Ezra. We're not going to go past chapter 3 because that is actually additions that were created or written post 70 AD. So we're actually going to stick with the remnant side of the scroll, which pertains to chapters 1, 2. It covers a conversation between Ezra, who was a high priest, the northern part of Israel. So the original manuscript was about 270 before Yeshua's Pentecost, So that places it in the northern part of Israel, which is the tongue of Aramaic. And then it was scribed down as a Jewish book, and then it was obviously penned in Hebrew, and then everything after that, it got the the world got its hands on the actual Dead Sea Scroll, and then of course they did their witchcraft and translated into Greek and then into Latin. So again, just so we're crystal clear on that, like a lot of people, right? So think of the devil's stance, right? Well, I only did this, right? It was up to Adam and Eve to discern, if they should or shouldn't. Well, the very same thing about the translations. If you were going to translate, you should always have had the originals as the primary doctrine. Therefore, you don't have any confusions. And then also not steering flocks away by writings that were several hundred years, the closest being about 50 years to the actual times of events. So, therefore, those are not witnesses, they're not prophets, nor are they scribes. They're more or less historians. So, in my opinion, which is the only opinion that matters, that is actually Apocrypha versus living scriptures such as Esdras, such as Baruch, um, Enoch. These are direct influences because they had the Spirit, my Spirit, come upon them. And that is, why these existed. But again, these were also the books that were not supposed to be opened and released until the end of days. So again, I'm your host, the Lord of Hosts, here for the end of days and the marching into the promised land. Now, again, that's not saying that you have to be complacent, sit on your tushy, and do nothing. Even though your tushy may be squishy, that is not the plan, but I am the man. So let's begin. We're going to listen to the rendition of Ezra 2 by Alexander Scorby. Now, Alexander Scorby actually did not physically transcribe these, but it is a digital reference mainly later in time, but this is actually a very good example of Thy Will Be Done. As I go upstairs and I open the creation book and I pin down what I want. So I was originally going to go with Christopher Glenn's rendition, but unfortunately, he's still kind of on the fence when it comes to getting on board the truth train. Um, and again, I know, right, with politics season, a lot of people are more interested in getting on the Trump train, which, if you ever seen Pinocchio and you know where that train goes, then, eyes to see, ears to hear, that. So don't do that. But get on the truth train. What is the truth train? It is making sure that the original Hebrew scriptures are the true representation of Almighty Yahweh, my spirit, and then my being here on earth, right, is Yahuwah, the angel of the Lord, Malak Yahweh. And all other players from there, honestly, are not really my concern. I am charged with certain things that I need to carry out upon this earth. The main chunk of that is discipline, judgment, and essentially, you know, destroying evil, wickedness, and empires of man that essentially thrive in those conditions, because the world was not made for them. Even though it is being ruled by them, it was made for the righteous. It was made for the Adamites pre-sin, pre-fall. So again, if you look at this instead of 6,800 years, give or take, depending on your timeline, because remember, before that, there was still man on the earth. There were still things that happened. But as I've also said before, that these things happen in cycles. So this time period would not be the only time period that the human species has ascended to the realms. So right now we have the 144,000 seeds, and most of them are handpicked by either myself, my angels, right, or one way through the other. Last ascension was during your, you know, pre Nebuchadnezzar age, right, pre Daniel, um, and again that was 199,000. So just not to confuse anybody, but remember, right now, the name of the game is trying to get those to get truth, accept truth, understand who the true power is, who the actual creator is, who his direct agents are, um, in the rendition of Ezra, you're going to hear a three-party speaking. So one is Ezra, right, a high priest from, again, northern Israel. Then we're going to be hearing from Uriel, the holy angel, who is also referred to as the Lord. I know a lot of you don't really care whenever I'm talking about that, but lesser ordinance ruler divine. So when Uriel or Gabriel or Michael even is carrying a message directly, they're essentially being a representative of the Lord, right? And that's why Ezra will refer to Uriel as the Lord and then refer to Father, right? Me, my spirit, as Lord God Almighty or Lord God. So just to kind of keep that perspective, right, and put on the right hat. So without further ado, we're going to begin and we're going to do a little dissecting. But remember, the part we're covering is actually only a piece of a scroll. So again, when you start looking at chapters past 3, they're still applicable. And remember, if you were to pick up the same copy by Scorby, that one again is not a true original because he was dead long after the recording was made. But simply because I go upstairs and I put it in the creation book, it manifests itself one way or another on earth. That's how my process works. And that's also why I did that graphic in the original. That is in no way a program. That's not a toy. Like, it's literally just me taking the camera. I have a camera now. Isn't that cool? So taking the camera and then essentially letting the camera, you know, be a witness to essentially electric energy. And I can manipulate electric energy. So by doing that, it was actually a quite little representation of when you take steps into the realm, right? So when you're taking these steps in, and then you get inside of, if you want to look at it in science, you would look at it as like a golden ratio. Um, and again, that's just, a part of creation and in how things work. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and do this. This is actually our third attempt because the first two, we've had some interruptions. I had a service gentleman come by the house, and just so funny, as I've been using Jose, my roofer, as a good analogy, like don't go up to him and call him Josie. My service technician today was Jose. Great technician, well done. Again, like we talked about, I really appreciate he showed up in a clean van, well dressed. He even had a little hoodie that said God vibes. Like, I appreciate that. Very cool. And Jose, hey, you have my direct blessing. I appreciate your services today. You were quick. But anyway, that isn't the point of this video either. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. And here we go.
Bible channel on YouTube. To Esdras. Chapter 1. The second book of the prophet Esdras, the son of Sarias, the son of Azarias, the son of Helkias, the son of Sedamias, the son of Sadok, the son of Achitub, the son of Achias, the son of Phinehas, the son of Heli, the son of Amarias, the son of Azai, the son of Marimuth, the son of Orna, the son of Ozias, the son of Borith, the son of Abisai, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron of the tribe of Levi, which was captive in the land of the Medes, in the reign of Artaxerxes, king of the Persians. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Go thy way, and show my people their sinful deeds, and their children their wickedness which they have done against me, that they may tell their children's children, because the sins of their fathers are increased in them, for they have forgotten me, and have offered unto strange gods. Am not I even he that brought them out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage? But they have provoked me unto wrath, and despised my counsels. Pull thou off then the hair of thy head, and cast all evil upon them, for they have not been obedient unto my law, but it is a rebellious people. How long shall I forbear them, into whom I have done so much good? Many kings have I destroyed for their sakes. Pharaoh with his servants, and all his power, have I smitten down. All the nations have I destroyed before them, and in the east I have scattered the people of 2 provinces, even of Tyrus and Sidon, and have slain all their enemies. Speak thou therefore unto them, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I led you through the sea, and in the beginning gave you a large and safe passage. I gave you Moses for a leader, and Aaron for a priest. I gave you light and a pillar of fire, and great wonders have I done among you. Yet have ye forgotten me, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Almighty Lord, the quails were as a token to you. I gave you tents for your safeguard. Nevertheless ye murmured there, and triumphed not in my name for the destruction of your enemies, but ever to this day do ye yet murmur. Where are the benefits that I have done for you?
So we'll catch it right there. And I don't even think you have to have eyes to see or ears to hear. I mean, probably just the literal being able to hear. Um, this is very much what I've been beating my chest about because this is all too true. Now, in time, right? Imagine to me yesterday was this time, right? This visitation with Esdras, and then tomorrow is today, and yet, it's this absolute either rebellion against my name, using my name, or it's like it's absolutely not found anywhere other than in Jerusalem. And even then, it is scarce, right? Um, so it obviously goes on to talk about that, but it is also lots of trademarks that connect Book of Revelations. So you'll also, the name thing, of course, we understand that. And then the rebuke against all the people. I'm right in the middle of my rebukes. So I pretty much covered 100% of rebuking, I think, every people, place, and thing. If I've missed one, I'll get there. I'll rebuke it as well. But pretty clearly, you can see that the world has forgotten the name. They've forgotten the deeds that started the entire biblical era, and then essentially have cut the religion for what it truly is in half. And then you have those that wanted to take the New Testament and deify it and create a one true God from a piece of the book, right? Um, it'd be kind of like telling the three little pig stories, but you're leaving out the pig with the hay, you're leaving out the pig with the brick, and you're leaving out the wolf. So really, what you have is, you know, one of three houses, no wolf, and now the story's about one of three pigs, building a house. Like you don't even have the reference points or the understanding of the story to be able to conclusively, truly, with truth, spirit, heart, and all honesty, come to the matter of fact of it. So again, and this is where we're at, right? So some people are still unlearned. They are like the child still using the word paschetti, right? My angels, we are going to teach and teach and teach until the floor falls out from under us, which is called the threshing floor. And then on the opposite end, right, those that are haughty, they're like, well, I know the name, but I prefer Jesus. Well, I prefer to not have those who can't accept truth in heaven. And I refuse those that cannot possess the true name. I'm not going to have you. So that's not something I'm going to give concessions to. At the end of the day, all the concessions have been given over to man. And at the end of the day, mankind has failed on every single task, every single thing from A to Z in its entirety, right? A complete failure on all levels. So my concessions are not anymore, are none. So either you come to my side, accept it, proclaim it, and move on with me, or stay where you're at. I know a lot of Christians are going to stay where you're at. And I'm here to tell you if there is another, right? If there's some deified God that's not known by me or my angels, then that's between you and your false God and your false idol. I can tell you unequivocally that there are no other heavens, there are no realms that do not have the signature of me in my house on it. So you're basically going, to be led down into the abyss. And again, I told you this from the very, very beginning. The recycling of souls, right? That has been stopped. So there will be no more. And this is again, I'm preventing the demons and the side of Satan to be able to continue on their little puppy mill. which instead of puppies, you guys are just humans. So that's what I mean, right? You need to really check yourself and, and get with it. So we'll continue on.
When ye were hungry and thirsty in the wilderness, did you not cry unto me, saying, Why hast thou brought us into this wilderness to kill us? It had been better for us to have served the Egyptians than to die in this wilderness. Then had I pity upon your mournings, and gave you manna to eat. So ye did eat angels' bread. When ye were thirsty, did I not cleave the rock, and waters flowed out to your fill? For the heat I covered you with the leaves of the trees. I divided among you a fruitful land. I cast out the Canaanites, the Perizzites, and the Philistines before you. What shall I yet do more for you, saith the Lord?
So that's another good part, especially when we're talking about truth. So, truth is going to essentially connect one to another, right? Precept upon precept, proofs upon proofs. So that's another thing, right? When you're reading Esdras in the beginning here, we have confirmation of what Elohim it's talking about, right? Almighty Yahweh, Yahuwah, and what acts or what miracles were performed for the children of earth at that time, right? And again, that was, Yahweh delivers, right? Which is Yahusha, right? Or Yehoshua, Yeshua for short. So that was the first time the Messiah was, introduced into that whole scenario was, all right, essentially the Spirit only, speaking to one or two people, and then having that essentially that external factor, versus right the Spirit of the Lord of Yahweh entering into a vessel and then taking that vessel as his own, right? An adoption, but of only one. That way that the praise, the worship, and the glory continues to go up one vine, not multiple vines. And so all the glory, praise, honor, and worship that is done to me or for me on the plane is directly bounced upstairs. But I ensure that it's kosher, right? I ensure that the way I feel is the way Father feels, and the way Father feels is the way I feel. So if there's something that he don't like, well, opinions, places, and things in man's world means nothing to me. The only thing that matters to me is my Father happy? Is he satisfied? Is he feeling good about something, or is he not feeling good about something? And then it's left up to me on how I handle the situation. And right now, a lot of my petty threats are being taken as just that. But because to be honest, like I don't have a hateful heart at all. I would love to not lose one person, for everyone to just take me seriously and say, okay, before the lights go out, before the earth is crumbling, before we're quite literally bathing in, 1,000-degree lava flows and pyroclastic flows and massive earthquakes unending and tsunamis. I mean, before we get there, I want to try to secure as many as I can. But right now I have a rebellion, right? Very similar to the fallen angels. They want to tell me 25 ways of Sunday why they can have sex with human women. And, again, no one listens to me. This has been a pretty common theme. Adam and Eve didn't listen. The fallen angels don't listen. The gods that, had jobs, right? So I want you folks to start thinking of that too. If you're on the list to become a representative of the realms of heaven, of me in any way, are you doing yourself a disservice because you're going to be essentially just the next Azazel, right? And that's my point. So I don't want to be sitting here on repeat and then having these conversations with some of you that obtain one day and then in 500 years you turn code on me, bite me, and then next thing you know, right, we're literally replaying the same sins of your fathers, and it's not something I want to do. So I do have to take a more staunch approach at things right here in the end days. So again, just to reiterate, my biggest thing right now is, cleaning the world up, getting rid of evil and wickedness. But in that process, right, I do need to move my 144 over to the new Earth state. And then what'll happen to this earth, I've already said, is, it's going to be put down and put away, just like the burning of the field every 7 years. The earth needs time to heal. You guys have beat the piss out of it. There's no good soil anywhere. Everything is all thorns. It's all sand spurs. It's all ugly architecture. It's all mammon based. Every corner of the street, everything's for sale. There is no right. There is no wrong. It's just whoever can make money off of everything. And then it's consumption. It's once you've accomplished this, your mind and heart is already set on something else. So when it comes down to it, you can have the one true God, the Elohim of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one who does possess the realms, the one who does incarnate himself into the earth as me. And in the last days, I would walk upon the earth and look at all places of iniquity. And even then, they would still blaspheme my name day and night. And they wouldn't even recognize, nor know, nor care that the Most High was among them. We are here. We are there. We are here right now. Um, right. And then meanwhile, you have the religions of your own divisive heart that you're propagating, promoting, and shouting to the high tops. And at the end of the day, guys, I've told you, if you want to follow a religion of fake names that lead back to the ancient Roman gods, right? Dionysus and all those guys, you know, that's not me. That's not biblical. That's not my family. That's not the heavenly hierarchy. That's none of the angels. There is no person in my realms, dead or alive, other than like regular human beings. But I'm saying Jesus is not there. So that literally leaves um, you with a choice, right? You can accept the blood covenant and accept that Yeshua's death upon Pentecost had to happen to provide the actual means to give eternal life to folks and to be able to anoint folks to be witnesses here in the end. But we're never going to have witnesses if you're witnessing against me. So if you are using false names and you're generating power, well, that's not coming from me. So that means you are wrapped up in nefarious religion. You're probably worshiping Greek gods, or you're wrapped up in Satan's personal church, right? The Catholic Church. If if the true God of Israel, Yahweh, my Father, my Spirit, and my incarnate self is Malak Yahweh, am completely against idolatry and man worship, then why would the instructions be from me to the Pope, a man, to be prouted and praised and prancing around like he is his holiness himself? And people even worship him as he's God, and he's not. So, foul ball, major foul ball, right? Definitely amping up the wrath on a level 9 there. And then every every church and place of worship, you guys basically have made the New Testament your religion. You have totally defiled yourself and exploded your own heart's divisive ways. Which even when I look inside your heart, hopefully you can do the same. And I see what is going on, and I see that it's literally infatuation. The same things you guys are in the material is the same way you are in a religious sense. You're thinking about Disney World, you're thinking about cute cars, cute girls, or cute guys. You want this big fancy house, you want to look this way in front of these people, you want this job so then you can do that. You want the status, the relationships, the friendships. Like you're essentially trying to turn the earth um, into your own little devilish playground. And you guys have, right? So congratulations. I'll give a little golf clap to all you demons and stuff that will be dead in not a long period anymore. But golf clap to you guys. You did successfully manage to woven in all types of sin and defilement into mankind. So it's definitely going to take a lot on my part, a lot on the angels' part to get these things corrected, but corrected we will. All right, we're going to get back to some Alexander Scorby. And there are a few other books that I would like to touch on. And I still might circle back to Christopher Glenn. Like I said, I really wish that he would get on like the truth train. I mean, the man's read more biblical scripture than most, and to have such that long lag on getting on the truth train is kind of scary, because definitely I look at it like someone who has that much exposure is still in a rejecting mind or heart. Gosh, if this guy is essentially hopeless, how many others are essentially hopeless? So, same problems, different epoch, but we'll carry on.
Saith the Almighty Lord, when ye were in the wilderness in the river of the Amorites, being athirst and blaspheming my name, I gave you not fire for your blasphemies, but cast a tree in the water, and made the river sweet. What shall I do unto thee, O Jacob? Thou, Judah, wouldest not obey me. I will turn me to other nations, and unto those will I give my name, that they may keep my statutes. Seeing ye have forsaken me, I will forsake you also. When ye desire me to be gracious unto you, I shall have no mercy upon you. Whensoever ye shall call upon me, I will not hear you. For ye have defiled your hands with blood, and your feet are swift to commit manslaughter. Ye have not, as it were, forsaken me, but your own selves, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Almighty Lord, have I not prayed you as a father his sons, as a mother her daughters, and a nurse her young babes, that ye would be my people, and I should be your God, that ye would be my children, and I should be your father? I gathered you together as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings. But now, what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out from my face. When ye offer unto me, I will turn my face from you. For your solemn feast days, your new moons, and your circumcisions have I forsaken. I sent unto you whom ye have taken and slain, and torn their bodies in pieces, whose blood I will require of your hands, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Almighty Lord, your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind doth stubble. And your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment, and done the thing that is an evil before me. Your house...
Now, what is that evil that has been done before me? So let's go back to the desert. And when the tribes down below who were camping beneath the mountain, when they were not getting word of where Moses' whereabouts were, in less than 40 days, they made a golden bull and worshiped it. So 40 years after a people has already witnessed the miracles, they've already witnessed freedom from their slave masters, and yet less than 40 days, they forget my voice, they forget my ways, they forget. So the evil that has been done in the sight is the same thing. The malady of your heart and the situation you're in from the sin and the fall creates this vacuum that you have a need to worship idols, and yet you are doing it still. Even keeping with the true line of the Holy Family, you break it off and you transformed it into something of your own works, your own mind's image, and it's false. So again, repeating the sins of your father and doing it proudly, right? Doing it haughtily, doing it your way. So I think I may have said this before, right? That Cologuard commercial where, you did it your way, right? That's like a big theme song. I want to just walk around the world and start singing it back to you guys. Like, you're doing it your way. You're using the name you want. You're using the religion of your choice, but yet you're trying to somehow anchor it in my truth as to get you to heaven, and that ain't going to work. Like, it's not going to work. And I'm sorry for you, but we've opened the treasury of knowledge just in the last 100 years, because it would be highly unfair to a people, especially a people with such big decisions to make in the end days. If we didn't open, if we were doing this 100 years ago, let's say, there would not be enough knowledge opened or access to it for the common man to be able to research and to be able to confirm all these things in which I'm saying. So then that leads me to my next point, that everyone has access to the knowledge. Everyone has the ability to prove and to research and use their beautiful brains that they were given. But it comes down to laziness and sloth. And you are too distracted by everything, right? You're distracted by the works of your hands, the money in your bank, the wants and worries of your heart, and then even those that dedicate small slivers of time to me. It's always like, for some reason, people have this thing where they think that, okay, let me take 2 minutes and just tell God everything I want and I need and how I'm feeling, and then maybe he'll make me rich, help me do this. Like, I will help with all those things if someone is actually doing the work, and if they're moving through in their studies and they're able to go, man, okay, I can see where this went from father down to son to father down to son, and we're doing this like really tight line of truth versus, right, the Christian way. Like, we're doing it our way, it's our religion, it's the works of our hearts and minds, and in all this deception, right, either by mistake, by fallacy, but either way, like, it's happening. So that's why we're not, we didn't start the initiation of end of days 100 years ago, because now every man, woman, and child has access to that knowledge. And that being known, right? It's kind of like if I had the kids and, one of the sons was charged with mowing the grass, but he kept saying, well, Dad, the mower's broke. Okay, that's an acceptable excuse. I'll accept it, right? It's before the vaults of knowledge were open and the name Jesus was still being actively worked with, because, well, there wasn't enough people for the vaults of truth to be opened, and trying to touch individuals by heart and by mind directly with the touch of God is a little too much for most people. And a lot of times they'll turn into kind of religious zealots and they'll just go right off the deep end. But I digress. So, getting back to Alexander Scorby here, and we'll listen to a little more, add a little more commentary.
Will I give to a people that shall come, which not having heard of me yet shall believe me, to whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded them. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say. And now, brother, behold what glory! And see the people that come from the east, unto whom I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Oseas, Amos, and Micaias, Joel, Abdias, and Jonas, Nahum, and Abakuk, Sophonias, Aggeus, Zachary, and Malachi, which is called also an angel of the Lord. Chapter 2. Thus saith the Lord, I brought this people out of bondage, and I gave them my commandments by men servants the prophets, whom they would not hear, but despised my counsels. The mother that bare them saith unto them, Go your way, ye children, for I am a widow and forsaken. I brought you up with gladness, but with sorrow and heaviness have I lost you, for ye have sinned before the Lord your God, and done that thing that is evil before him. But what shall I now do unto you? I am a widow and forsaken. Go your way, O my children, and ask mercy of the Lord. As for me, O Father, I call upon thee for a witness over the mother of these children, which would not keep my covenant, that thou bring them to confusion, and their mother to a spoil, that there may be no offspring of them. Let them be scattered abroad among the heathen, let their names be put out of the earth, for they have despised my covenant. Woe be unto thee, Ashur, thou that hidest the unrighteous in thee. O thou wicked people, remember what I did unto Sodom and Gomorrah, whose land lieth in clods of pitch and heaps of ashes. Even so also will I do unto them that hear me not, saith the Almighty Lord. Thus saith the Lord unto Esdras, Tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, which I would have given unto Israel. Their glory also will I take unto me, and give these the everlasting tabernacles, which I had prepared for them. They shall have the tree of life for an ointment of sweet savour. They shall neither labor nor be weary. Go, and ye shall receive. Pray for few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. Take heaven and earth to witness, for I have broken the evil in pieces and created the good. For I live, saith the Lord. Mother, embrace thy children, and bring them up with gladness. Make their feet as fast as a pillar. For I have chosen thee, saith the Lord. And those that be dead will I raise up again from their places, and bring them out of the graves. For I have known my name in Israel. Fear not, thou mother of the children, for I have chosen thee, saith the Lord. For thy help will I send my servants Esai and Jeremy, after whose counsel I have sanctified and prepared for thee 12 trees laden with divers fruits, and as many fountains flowing with milk and honey, and 7 mighty mountains, whereupon there grow roses and lilies, whereby I will fill thy children with joy. Do right to the widow, judge for the fatherless, give to the poor, defend the orphan, clothe the naked, heal the broken and the weak, laugh not a lame man to scorn, defend the maimed, and let the blind man come into the sight of my clearness. Keep the old and young within thy walls. Wheresoever thou findest the dead, take them and bury them, and I will give thee the first place in my resurrection. Abide still, O my people, and take thy...
So that's a good point, right? So it is a self-witness, right, of my own resurrection. And what does that mean in human terms? It means being born in the earth, right, as a man, but also not having the soul, right, of a man, or needing the spirit from heaven, being already born with the spirit from heaven, which was directly, pulled from my father, right, and then put into me, and then dropped down into succession. Um, so therefore, I could be, the number one witness unto myself, right, to not only bring all things to fruition, but to be the physical, right, Elohim on earth to carry out the ending destruction of earth, right? Because if you are about to do a remodel on your house, right, or even if you are about to clear your land and build elsewhere, right, you would need your demo crew. So you would need the destroyer. Well, all those characters and all those character traits, right? I possess those character traits. I possess every character trait that any and all seeds that ever came from the heavens I have within me. So that's another thing to consider, right? Just because my range of emotion or my range of characteristics are much greater than all of you, that does not make me, anything other than what I say. But just again for clarity and context. So we'll listen to a little more Scorby.
Rest, for thy quietness still come. Nourish thy children, O thou good nurse. Stablish their feet. As for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number. Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Lord. My hands shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell. Be joyful, O thou mother, with thy children, for I will deliver thee, saith the Lord. Remember thy children that sleep, for I shall bring...
That's a good point. So let's say you are an adopted child and your adopted family had the last name Smith, but you as an adopted child are kind of arrogant, dumb, blind, and you don't have any respect for your new family. So instead of taking up your new adopted name, Smith, you want to go with, your own made up name or the name of your previous family, right? So let's say it's Alexander, right? Just because of Alexander Scorby. No real reason for there. But an example anyway. So imagine being the parent of that child and you're like, hey, the Smith family is going to go out to dinner. And the kid's like, well, I'm not a Smith. So screw you. Like, I'll stay home and eat ramen noodles. It's like, okay, like you refuse to be in the adopted family. You keep using every excuse in the world of why you don't want to be in the adopted house, right? Versus a grateful adopted child would say, like, I have, like, came from a crappy crappy house and a bad family, abusive house, such as the world. And, I'm pleased to be adopted by the Creator. And, if the Creator wants a family and he's offering, to be a part of that family, right? And a part of being the family, right, is we all assimilate under the holy name. And that's doing things on earth as they're done in heaven. But then again, you have like your Christians, right? Or your blaspheming people, your fake names and fake doctrine and your Pope and all that nonsense, right? That's not saying you're trying to be under the house of God. That's not saying you want to be into the realms or into the heavens. No, that's saying you want it your way, and you're either confident enough that somehow you're right, and all the facts and proofs that go against you, you rebuke because you want your heart's desires to manifest, which it leads to hell, leads to damnation. Versus the good son and good daughters that say, I'm willing to accept that adoption. I trust in, Yahweh, Almighty God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And there is no better father, right? There is no better parent. There is no better anything than the creator. And if you need proof of that, walk outside of your yard and try to get someplace away from all of man's defilings and get out into a place of nature that's still relatively preserved, and you'll find that out, right? Every creation is an absolute amazement if you take the time to look at it. And a big part of man is you got to stop your own hands from trying to literally figure out ways to defile it. So even man in a clear space and in a quiet peace zen, you want to make your vehicles as loud and obnoxious as you can, right? You literally do things just to disturb the peace, disturb holiness, to defile righteousness. All your jobs are filled with in and out little man worship inlets that, you got to kiss his ass, kiss her ass. And you better do that to preserve your ass. Like, it's so much BS when the house of the holy, the house of me and my Father are for cleanliness, righteousness, holiness, creation, creativity, right? Whereas I'm more willing to work with somebody who may have the eye to see creation for what it is, but they're not learned. But they're willing to learn because they absolutely are stunned by the beauty and amazement of the earth, the physical reality and habitat that you guys are in, right? And as that is the little sister to heaven, right? The little sister to the realms, it is only, a very small fraction of everything that's been created. Because again, you have the layers of time on earth, right? Just as the earth can't hold all people that it's ever birthed at once, right? You ask a mother, to bear 10 children at once, she can't. She would have to do them one at a time with time in between each. The same thing with earth. But now heaven, right, in the realms, there is kind of the opposite. So you have all the creations ever incepted, but they all have their own essentially cohabitat. Um, and again, those are things that will be seen. All right, we'll listen to a little more Alexander Scorby, and then we'll probably conclude here shortly.
Them out of the sides of the earth, and show mercy unto them, for I am merciful, saith the Lord Almighty. Embrace thy children, until I come and show mercy unto them, for my wells run over, and my grace shall not fail. I, Esdras, received a charge of the Lord upon the Mount Oreb, that I should go unto Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught, and despised the commandment of the Lord. And therefore I say unto you, O ye heathen, that hear and understand, look for your shepherd. He shall give you everlasting rest, for he is nigh at hand, that shall come in the end of the world. Be ready to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Flee the shadow of this world, receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly. O receive the gift that is given you, and be glad, giving thanks unto him that hath led you to the heavenly kingdom. Arise up and stand. Behold the number of those that be sealed in the feast of the Lord, which are departed from the shadow of the world, and have received glorious garments of the Lord. Take thy number, O Sion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord. The number of thy children whom thou longedst for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord, that thy people, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed. I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Sion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel, and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God. Now are they crowned, and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things, and how great wonders of the Lord thy God thou hast seen. Chapter 3.
So we're going to end it on chapter 3. So as this is more or less like an introduction, I leave the primary study back to you, to do with it as best you can. But I hope at a minimum, this helped, try to break the ice on some of these things. And, there is no penalty for someone studying and getting it wrong. But I will say that the most important thing, right, is do not forsake my name. Do not forsake the power in heaven's name. And whenever you're calling upon the blood covenant, get that name right too. Like, that's why it's important, because you want to make sure that everything you're doing, you're staying within the heavenly family. You do not want to be outside of the heavenly family, because remember, it would be like being the bad son, and the good sons are not gonna they're not gonna want to help you. That's the angels, right? Like Michael, the guardian of Jerusalem, Israel. He is not very motivated, to do a whole lot for people that frankly don't know who they are. They don't know what their purpose is. They don't know the sanctity of the Holy Land. They don't know, their father, like all these things, right? They're not very motivated. So do yourself a favor, right? Get the names right, get your stuff straight. So not only are the angels motivated to help you, but you'll be able to draw in closer. And then one day, as opposed to seeing at the very beginning of this video, right, those multiple steps that then manifest into different things, designs and stuff like that, right? That will eventually be your spirit once you're given one. So strengthen what remains. We'll reconvene, and I think that will conclude the video for now.